Zach, are we up? We are good. Okay, let's go ahead and show. It is 6:31 p.m. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll go ahead and get started with roll call.
District 1 Alderman Miguel Aguirre.
Here.
District 3 Alderman David Emery.
I'm here.
District 4 Alderman Michael Rodriguez.
Here.
District 5 Alderman Matthew Martinez.
Here.
District 2 Alderman Richard Hughes is absent.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. Appreciate that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you can please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead and move on to citizens to be heard. This is item number 4. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the City Council on any issue, any item of the agenda in compliance with LGC Section 551.007. City Council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may any action be taken on any issue at this time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion JC0169. Nobody sign in? Okay. Just a reminder, if you're here and you're going to speak, please sign in so we know which item. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. All right. Let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and still going once. Anybody would like to be heard? Going twice. 3 times. Paula, if you can go ahead and show no comments. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to item number 5, consent agenda. A, consider the approval of the minutes, February 24th, 2025.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented and as presented.
Okay, got a motion for us to go ahead and approve the minutes.
February 24th.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second? Okay. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All yeas. Thank you. And just want to say a little special thank you, Paola. Thank you for taking care of the minutes, and we're right on track. That's awesome. Appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of B. Consider approval of the payment of the bills. So, council, take a look at that.
Lynette, the 2 items, waste treatment plant expansion and water systems, these are monies that.
It's in the bottom. This is the CO money.
Oh, okay, that was my question.
Yes.
Okay, both of those. Yeah, it's just further payment for plans and work on the plans.
That's correct. Yeah, just the design portion and then
So,
That phase.
I thought so, just wanted to verify.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I move that we approve paying the bills as posted for 3/10/25.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Got it, Mayor. Second.
Thank you so much. Further discussion on the bills? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. All yeas, motion carries forward. Let's go ahead and move on to the open session. Item number 6, take action on items discussed. Consideration and possible action concerning the award for the request for proposals for audit services to Brooks Watson and Company, PLLC. Zach.
All right, Mayor and Council, as the agenda item indicates, this is the audit services RFP that was issued in January. We did receive 3 proposals back, Armstrong, Vaughn and Associates, Whitley Penn, and Brooks Watson. After Finance Director and myself reviewed them, we are recommending Brooks Watson. The cost of $33,995 would be included in next year's budget. Is how that normally works. So it is slightly higher than what we are currently paying, but that's to be expected sometimes when you go out to bid. But pretty pretty close. I think we're at like 31,000, give or take, so a couple thousand more. This group is out of Houston, but they represent a lot of cities out there, but they do have some other cities just kind of scattered around Texas. Come highly recommended, and we feel comfortable with what they proposed. The proposal that they provided was provided in the packet. Of course, if council wants to see any of the others, we're welcome to see it, send that out to y'all. Armstrong Vaughn Associates is the current provider, but as council has expressed before, looking at to make sure we're doing the right thing is looking at a different group at least for a year. And so this is why this RFP was issued and ultimately why this group was selected to be
This is
chosen.
just for the next year.
Yes, obviously at that time we could stay with them if we chose to do so or go back to Armstrong, but
It's
that
not
would
a
be
3-year deal, a 5-year deal.
No.
And those of you who've been here, this is something that also adds credibility to have somebody else eyes on our audit and be able to provide some feedback. So you have a different set of views
Good idea.
and analysis and just take a look at it and it helps our credibility of what we're actually doing here. So this is a good thing. And yes, to answer the question, we're going to be and do you need it in the motion though for a year or is pretty much
no. I mean, once we award, we will bring back a contract at a later date that would have that information in there. So we'll address it at that time. But this is really just the award of the proposal.
So this is not a yearly thing?
So in the years past, we've had Armstrong for I think 5 audits, which is best practice to
Didn't we
do.
have to approve them every year?
Y'all approved the individual, what I want to say task order, but their engagement letter we approved every year because of the cost increase is normally where you see that. So, but as far as the practice, normally you have them for 5, and then you would switch either to a new firm for 5 or 1, or however council wants to do that. So
Yeah, because from what I see, it's about a 5% increase.
Yeah.
Which is not bad at all.
We just had, this is one of those, all of that exception to procurement rules where it's a professional service, same as an attorney, where, if you go out for an RFP, is always option, but every year is not a need. You don't do anything different.
Yeah.
The fact that they're the fact that where your city attorney is kind of
just be able to do that?
yeah, it just happens. It's just best practice to switch every so often or have
Yeah.
somebody else look
I
at
think
it.
One of us would have to beg off, I guess.
Yes,
If-
yeah.
If it doesn't go well this year, they finish up and say, hey, thanks a lot. See
Yeah.
you. Right.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award the request for proposal RFP 2505-01-01
Mhm.
for audit services to Brooks Watson and Company, PLLC.
Got a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Mayor, I would second that, but make a correction. It's RFP 2025. I believe you read
Oh.
2520,
Okay.
which that's in the future.
That's correct to 2025.
Sound good.
Yeah, I second that.
Second it? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to B. This is discussion and update concerning projects in code.
All right. So, Mayor and Council, just obviously following our open house that the developer held, Lowen Digital held on March 3rd. We just wanted to take the opportunity to make sure we had an item on here and just kind of update council and really offer the public an opportunity if they had any questions or concerns that were expressed that night to any of y'all that were there, that are on the table and really anybody else that wanted to come and express anything. The only real update on the city side, just to let y'all know, is that the next city council meeting, there will be a public hearing for the Project Cinco project. And as it relates to possible tax abatements that they are asking or will be requesting of council to grant, along with the development agreement, which will spell out a lot of things once, including annexation of the property and things like that. So, again, this is an opportunity just to kind of have an open-ended conversation and just lay it out there if anybody had any questions or concerns. So.
just some feedback for that night. I think it went very, very well. I think the people got some of the questions and answered, but I am also going to be truthful in the sense of just saying there was some people that were not happy. I counted 3 of people that I actually talked to. And then we had about 5 folks that were expecting it to be like sit down, present it to us, in a big auditorium. But they had workstations, and the reason that they did that is they wanted to be personalized. So as you walk around, you'd be able to do that, and at the same time be able to answer or point you the direction. One of the key things, and we'll come back to the overall one, but one of the key things for the city with this is, for our residents in Coal Mine, we are resolving an issue that has been open for 134 years. This is a neighborhood that is basically one way in, one way out. I know for years and years we tried to do different things to try to get a secondary access. So this is going to be a company that is going to be able to help us out to be able to provide that and make it a lot more accessible to a point, depending on what the county does, there might be a possibility where you might not even have to cross the railroads if you need to go all the way to the high school. You might be able to go all the way around 463 and come back down. So pretty neat. The county, and just a reminder, the county does have the lead in the initials.
That's correct.
And they're the ones that are doing the first phase and everything that happens. There's 2 different properties that are out there, and 683 being right in the middle. So one will get started, and then the other one will come along at a later point. That to be determined. But for accessibility, that's going to help us out tremendously, be able to do that. Some of the other concerns that people just had was clarification of water use. What are they going to use? As far as we know, everything based on the first tenant, it's all going to be electrical.
Yeah, it's air
Um,
cooled.
So it's not going to be using it in the sense of discharge water. Now, in the initial, when they get it started, there is something that they need to do to be able to clean and do different things. So there's going to be something that they need to do. But the normal pump out, use, and then discharge, that's not going to happen from what we understand with the first tenant.
I talked to them about that specific thing because a friend of mine had some issues with it. It's a closed loop
Correct.
water system.
That's correct.
So there will be the initial filtering of the water and filling of the system.
That's correct.
So the very first phase is like filling a swimming pool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it'll be sealed.
Yep.
And the daily usage of water through just evaporation or whatever is about what one household would use per day.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And the only sewage connection is whatever toilets and
Correct.
wastewater for sinks and
Correct.
things like that they have.
Yeah, and one thing to note is that the first phase, is all actually in East Medina's CCN. So actually, water-wise, is really not affecting us. The only thing is the sewer portion that we're, any effect on our systems from that standpoint. So which is, pretty win-win, I think, on our end. So,
And if they ever decide that they want to have a heavy use of water, just a reminder, council, they actually have 2 wells that are on site,
Yeah.
and that's part of the discussion. So
Yes.
if for some reason, I know from our citizens, that was one of the concerns, how much water they would have, or they would have an impact on our infrastructure. And that's not the case, just like Zach said with the first phase. And whenever they come over to our side, it's just going to be their office and the normal sink, toilet, sink and restroom
correct.
type, things that you need to be able to provide. So I just wanted to make sure the council knew, for those that were not there, that was one of the items that some of our citizens were asking about. They also were asking about electricity. And just so everybody understands, they're connected to AEP. And that's the cool thing about this is we have AEP, we got CPS Energy, so there's flexibility within the city. The city as a whole, pretty much all of it, except the section of 132 to include coal mine is AEP. So it's separated. We got differences. And then I know that they've actually talked about loops in case of a backup or something that they need, talking to CPS Energy. And just down the street, you got Medina Electric too. So it's pretty neat in the sense of the location that they selected. There's flexibility and things in that area. but in a sense of how they're going to get started, the first initial one is AEP, and they've been working very closely with them. And as far as I know, I think they have the supply that they need
Yeah, at least for the first phase.
for the first phase, and they'll be working with the distribution lines and things that they need to do. So those were the two that citizens were concerned. How's it going to affect our water? How's it going to affect our electricity? Those are the two that came up in a sense of discussion. There was some aesthetics questions. I know that they talked to them. I do want the council to know that they reached out to the neighbors. I want to say thank you, Lynette and Paola, Zach, for helping out, and also to East Medina. They reached out and tried to get some of the folks around that live in that area to be able to talk to them about the impact and what to expect in there. So they try to mitigate or try to provide that. But that's between them and those homeowners that are out there. Some of those homeowners that did approach me, they were asking, "Hey, does this mean that I'm going to be in the city?" And I told them no. I said, "We're not annexing you." So, the laws changed years ago that people have to go ahead and petition to be able to be annexed into the city. So there's nothing where we're actually going to go ahead and reach out and try to annex. It's the folks out of Project Cinco that came to us about annexation in their property, and it's only their property. It does not affect anybody that lives in that area whatsoever. So those are the things, council, just so you have an idea, unless you remember anything
Well,
else.
I just wanted to, about the secondary exit, we're going to put that in writing somewhere, so it's not
It'll be
just
in
a
the-
gentleman's agreement?
It'll be in the development agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be in the
I
development
mean, I
agreement.
trust them, but I don't want to get
Totally
a
understand.
year down the road. and
Yes, sir.
it Doesn't work, sorry.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, it'll be in the development agreement. I'm pretty sure it's actually already, like, language is already in there because I've seen a draft of it.
Yeah, I
So,
knew that y'all talked.
so yeah, it'll definitely be in writing.
Love to see it.
Yes, sir.
Anything? I think the only other one, it didn't come from our citizens, but it was from some of the residents around there that were wondering about traffic. So there is going to be more traffic in that area just because of the buildup that is going to happen in that area. So it's expected. I think once they have all their employees in there, they're expecting around 400 employees at one time. But I know that they're mitigating and trying to figure out ways to try to keep them there, to include maybe some sort of food truck park or something in there, so they don't have to commute. They'll be able to come in and they have the stuff that they need in there. The other thing that goes along with that they did mention also, and they have mentioned in the past, is they do try to concentrate and try to find local folks to do some of the work that they'll need to be done, as long as they're certified to be able to do the work. Some of it is going to be very technical, and it'll have to be people from other places. But some of the other work that is going to be available, they're going to be looking. So there will be opportunities for folks in this area that provide construction support, might be able to be hired to do some of that work that goes along with that.
I would guess, talking about traffic, that there would be increased heavy vehicle traffic on Main Street,
Yes.
and that's state.
Yes.
And we talked to TxDOT at all about this coming project and
They're aware.
any wear and tear that might take
Yeah.
place on Highway
So-
132.
So just a reminder, the project is started with the county. So the county has been very helpful in getting TxDOT involved. I know they've started talking to Union Pacific too, and some of the other key players that are part of that area. The county is going to be doing some modifications on the roads out there to be able to help with that out. So they're pretty much in line with the things that need to happen in there and stuff. But the reality is, yes, you are going to see more traffic. I don't know which way they're going to be coming in from to be able to bring the materials. So that's to be determined.
Yeah.
And we'll find out. But do want to be upfront and just mention that in the sense of that general area. Okay. Any questions or anything?
So we don't know if they're going to be installing traffic lights or just all stop signs in the road.
I think at this point there's been no mention of stoplights. They are reworking, like the mayor said, some of 683 will be reworked a little bit, but it's more just like roadway improvements than anything. It depends on long term. If they see a need out there, there might be, but at this point, I don't think that's been mentioned unless you've heard of anything.
No. I think as part of, I mean, if you follow any of the other constructions, when they get a heavy presence in there, sometimes they have to bring in law enforcement, their own, to be able to control the entry in and out in that area. That could be a possibility. I know that with TxDOT, the one area that we're working really hard to get the lights, and
Yeah.
we're just waiting for the funding. Everything else has been done, is the one on 2790 at Main Street. So Union Pacific already signed off on that. So we're just waiting for the funding to come down. And I know that has been an open item for 40 plus years, so being able to get lights in there. So that's going to help in that area, just be able to do that.
Yep.
So, but that's where we're at in there. But we'll closely monitor that too. I know they'll be working with the county, but we'll also make sure that
For
we
sure.
address those
They,
things.
they even though they are working with the county, I mean, they keep us in the loop pretty well. So, and we appreciate that.
So along with annexation, we're also gonna be responsible for the light poles and all that they put up, or is that on them?
So they don't use the light poles. They use the lights inside or along the building. From the last drawings that I saw, and everything is zero light. In other words, they go down. That was one of the questions that they talked to the neighbors that they use out there, and it's more of a bigger building, small footprint with a parking with one general area. Just because now around that building you might see some light poles because of the parking, but the other facilities is just in the outside portion that goes along with that. Just the way that they actually design it. And I know the county put it in their agreement about the lighting.
Yeah.
They're very specific in a sense of what they needed to do outside those buildings. Okay. Anything else? All right, Zach, nothing else?
No.
Okay. Well, this was just an update and just be able to provide that. And as we continue on this journey, we'll bring forward any other things that come along with that. I do, for those of you that are watching out there, I do want to remind there's certain things that the city is responsible for. There's certain things that the county is responsible for. If you live out in the county and you have some questions, please work through your county commissioner to be able to address some of those concerns that you actually have. If you're inside the city and you're concerned about some of the things that are happening in that area, please come to us. Just use the easiest route to be able to get your questions answered. Be able to do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on, Council, if it's okay. Let's go ahead and move on to item C. This is consideration and possible action concerning ordinance number 2506. An ordinance of the City of Lytle, Texas, amending Chapter 40, Article 3, Section 40-160 of the City Code of Ordinances to provide for the addition of stop signs to create a two-way stop at the intersection of Magnolia Street and Florence Street, and to amend Sections 40-161 of the City Code of Ordinances to provide for the addition of stop signs to create a three-way stop at the intersection of Magnolia and San Ben Street, declaring a public purpose, incorporating recitals, providing a severity, providing a repealer cause, and providing a penalty, requiring publication, and setting an effective date. Zach.
Mayor and Council, pretty straightforward. This has kind of been kicked around for a while. I know Councilman Hughes, who unfortunately isn't here this evening, is out of town, but has been working on this. They identified, along with Chief's help, identified a location for two stop signs to make a new two-way stop at Magnolia and Florence Street. And then there's already a stop sign at Magnolia and South Benton Street, but adding two additional stop signs there to make it the three-way stop. So in order to make them legitimate, we do have to adopt the ordinance and amend those sections of our code, and then publish that in the newspaper. So that way, if anybody violates that, then obviously they can write tickets appropriately. So this was, and just to recall, this is kind of going back. We've had some citizens that have expressed interest in trying to slow some traffic down in that area, just because it's kind of a big cut through and moving around. So this was the first attempt to try to go this route of addressing those concerns. So.
Uh,
I thought the at 10 at Magnolia was existing with a yield sign.
you put stop signs, so.
But we can still make the motion.
Yeah.
We can provide for clarification on that.
Or was that in Florence and Magnolia?
South Benton.
That South Bend, kind of wise in there?
Okay, intersection of Magnolia stop sign to amend the section of the stop signs to, okay. It says for addition of stop signs to the three-way stop at the intersection of Magnolia and South Bend Street.
It is a yield. It's a current yield, so it'd be an additional stop sign. It still would apply because it'd be making that a three-way stop. So the ordinance still is applicable. We'll just need to reflect in the that we're adding a third stop sign there,
So-
not that it's existing.
So we're gonna add the yield sign.
No, we're adding a stop sign where the yield sign currently is.
Oh.
We have one-way stops, two-way stops, three-way stops, and then four-way. So yeah.
Also instructing, put up something appropriate.
Okay.
As long as y'all are okay with one of them being a two-way stop, one being a three-way stop. The sign can change.
Another note just for
Yeah.
correction. We're on page 2 where it says section 40-161, item A and item B4. There is no longer an intersection at Laredo and Easy Street. It's Laredo and Reese Foster Way.
I think
We
they
did a name
renamed the
change.
street. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever we update it.
Yeah. And when we publish it, it'll reflect that appropriately. Yeah.
Because we did officially change.
Yeah,
the
y'all
name of
named-
that one block
Yes.
section there.
Yes.
It's to honor cross-country and track coaches who've done so much good work.
Yeah, that should permeate through the code.
Yeah, everywhere that's mentioned previously just needs to be corrected.
We'll
So I
make
just want
that.
to bring it to your attention.
Yeah, of course. No, thank you.
It's the only two places I saw it there on A and
And then
B4,
four.
but it may be somewhere else in this.
We'll go through and we'll double check.
Right.
Awesome.
So, Mayor, I move that we approve this ordinance number 2506
Okay.
as presented and with those two minor corrections.
Got a motion? Do I have a second? You got a second? Okay. Awesome.
Any other comments?
Any discussion?
Yeah, so since this subject came up, is this the only changes we've made? Only permanent changes we're gonna make, other than the speed trailer? There's no bumps or anything that's been added to this?
No.
Okay,
Yeah, I think based on the speed humps, what we saw on Prairie Street while they worked, I think really they would have just been, I think we would have put them in and then just had to go back to the stop signs later. Because what we're seeing is, people using that to avoid Main Street, the intersection on Main Street. So they're coming through the residential area, there's no stopping, it's a straight shot.
right.
So that's, I think the speed humps, we had to put so many in there that, you know.
Yeah, the only thing I find interesting is that the straightaway down South Perry and is still there and South Bend is still there. But, so nothing physically has been done in this area since this has come up, right?
No.
And then I know Richard and yourself have canvassed that area, so are we legally responsible to the citizens to post something prior to us doing this? Letting the neighborhood know that this is gonna be coming up?
With regard to the stop signs?
Yes.
No, if you wanted to do notices, you could, that would be just as a kind of a courtesy. With regard to other changes, I know in other cities, like especially when you start putting speed bumps or things that, a stop sign is pretty straightforward, but speed bump can have unintended consequences as far as reasonable.
Get it at nighttime.
And at that point, you generally would want to engage the city engineer and probably have some kind of, hearing from people who live on that street, usually what happens. questions about that. So that would be.
Richard did offer a hearing on that, did y'all? At one point, didn't y'all
You don't have
offer
to-
something?
Yeah, well, there's really not that many houses over there.
No, but at one point, didn't you open it up for the public?
I think y'all had a conversation about it, and then I think the direction was to have Chief and Richard go and
Canvas, okay.
canvas. Yeah.
Okay.
And the people that are using that street, they're using it to get back out into the county.
Right,
Very few of them. There's really not a big
not
residential.
residents that
There
are,
might be a little more now with the subdivision, but predominantly it's just.
right. Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All right. Okay, with that in mind, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All yeas. Thank you, council. Appreciate that. And we'll get moving. And we already have all the supplies.
Yes.
Got everything. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Thank you, council. Let's go ahead and move on to D, discussion and possible action concerning appointments to Keep Vital Beautiful Committee and selection of a date for the annual spring cleanup.
All right, so Mayor and Council, as the data sheet indicated, we still are missing some individuals for the Keep Lytle Beautiful Committee. So just wanted to reiterate that we're still looking for people. In addition, though, I know that we need to go ahead and set the date for the annual spring cleanup. I think in years past it's been in April, but we were looking at the bulk pickup, and normally we try to do it right after that bulk pickup, just in case there's any straggling stuff that they can, bring it over for that. And so we're suggesting either May 3rd or May 10th for that deadline or date to host that. So wanted to offer those two dates and just see if there was any that worked better for council or not. So
I think the
Well, May 10th is before Mother's Day.
yes.
May 10th is what?
Before Mother's Day, it's the day before Mother's Day.
So maybe May 3rd would make more sense.
Probably, and it would be right after the ball.
Yeah.
On the 28th.
that's when we get done. On the 3rd? The 3rd of May?
I'm good right now for that date unless things come up at school.
So we need to still coordinate with Gary, right?
Yeah, we had I had sent a date in April, and then after Mayor and I spoke about it being after the bulk, we switched that date. So I told him hold off, and we'll tell him as soon as we communicate tonight about it. So
You need a motion on it, man?
we've normally had an action on that before. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, who was the gentleman from Discovery Church also? Remember they mentioned that they wanted to
Yeah,
volunteer?
they want to do it in April though because they want to do it right before Easter. So, and I did speak with him about doing some work at our parks.
Okay.
So yeah, I can't remember his name offhand though, Mayor.
So we have an opportunity, so we might be able to still coordinate with them and ask them, see if they want to do something.
Yeah.
We can work individually to be able to do the actual street
The
cleanup.
street cleanup
Yeah.
portion. Yeah.
The street cleanup portion to be able to do that. And then we'll just concentrate on the drop off with the dumpsters
Yeah.
on the 3rd to be able to do that because we want to take advantage of be able to
Yep.
use the folks that we actually have on there.
Yep.
So, so if I can get a motion for us to go ahead and select the 3rd of May as our date.
I'll make that motion. man.
Okay, a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, got a second. Thank you. Any further discussion on the date for that?
I'd just like to make an encouragement. I don't know of anything I have. I usually man the school, the 3 dumpsters at the school. My daughter's engaged in UIL 1-act play, and that gets real hot and heavy in there. So any of you other guys, Michael, I know you've come out and helped a lot. Anybody in the city that wants to come out and volunteer to man the big dumpsters, even for an hour or so, I would help out just in case somebody can't do anything.
Do that. Yep. But we do definitely, not only the manning, but then the manning for the committee. So if we can please look at that and let's try to figure out, be able to get the personnel to be able to fill those so they can start meeting And then we let them go ahead and take the lead and work with the churches and all the other folks of being able to coordinate all that. And then our part is just being able to take care of the dumpsters, be able to do that. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All yeas. So let's go ahead and shoot for 3rd of May. 3rd of May. We'll go ahead and take care of that. And if you have any folks that are volunteering or you know of, please get that information to Zach so we can go ahead and take care of that. Is there anything else that you need to cover on that one?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to item E now. E, discussion and possible action concerning the use of the hotel occupancy tax funding for the purchase of purchase and financing of the baseball field lighting at Municipal John Lott Park.
All right. So, Mayor and Council, as you know, I think it's been a desire to place lights over at our baseball fields for quite some time. We've even had contributions from HEB and West Texas Gas here in the last year to help in that effort. Unfortunately, some grant opportunities that we were hoping to receive, we did not. And as such, we're still kind of left out there without this project and how we kind of proceed. I know specifically HEB has kind of asked, just because I think theirs was a decent contribution to the Little League for this purpose. Kind of like, hey, when are y'all going to be doing that? So we obviously want to move forward with this. So I reached out to Musco Lighting, who is the provider of the lights. And these are Little League approved lighting, which does come with a little bit more of a cost, obviously, because of that. But they said, hey, we do offer financing, if that's something y'all want to, proceed with. And so then just looking at it, one thing that Little League has expressed for quite some time is, hey, we get lighting out here. We can hold tournaments. We can go further into the evenings. And, to me, that just speaks, bringing people here and shopping and, other food being, money being spent on food and possibly in hotels if tournaments are being held. And so that's really the, idea behind the use of the hotel occupancy tax funding. So given that was the case, we wanted to see if that was something, a desire of council to do. I put in there the 10-year period, which is the lowest cost per year, that at $65,000 a year for that. We bring in on average about $108,000 to $110,000 a year in hotel occupancy tax right now. So that definitely would cover, plus some of the other things that we already spend on, like Lytle Music Fest and stuff like that. So we're covered from that standpoint. But just wanted to see if that was something, council wanted to pursue as a use of those funds.
So the lights are $650,000.
Yeah, so they are, so the lights, so it's for the 3 fields, the large field, and then the 2 smaller ones, not the T-ball field. Right. So three of the fields, about $490,000. So that 65 a year at a 10-year period, period is he went up to 500,000 just to cover, give a round number, and that comes out to that 65 a year. I think it's like a 6%, on that, somewhere in that range, 6.4 or something like that. Like I said, it's a little bit more if you go up 5 and 7, but you're not having to pay as long, obviously. So just like your typical financing.
Yeah, the lightings, when you talk to Little League, and in order for you to sanction as an official site, we're very restrictive. We're very, pretty much this is what you need to do. And unfortunately, the lighting is the biggest part of it. So when you go out there and we do the research, and if you all remember, council, we started this and we had the previous, city administrator also involved when we started looking. And this has been an open item for many, many years. So we were hoping to be able to get some sort of other grant or any other help to be able to do this. But where we're at right now, and with contributions that have come in, and it's already shown. I can tell you right now, if you go over to on weekends, when you drive by or by the Best Western, we have schools that are staying here. They're staying in our hotels, and guess where they're playing? In the communities around us. So it's so important that we actually capitalize on the opportunity. And I can tell you, our park with the lights, along with a few other things that we just need there, is the ideal place. We have so much room and we have a lot of capacity for us to be able to do that. And it would be a great environment. And it would bring a lot of families here. And plus, it helps our families too, because they can actually use lighting at night instead of being out there in the scorching sun, during the day, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. But for tournaments and things that we can do, that's what it's going to take for us to be able to do something.
Do you know of any other upgrades we need to do, like bleachers? We don't have much bleacher
So-
space right now.
So what's going to happen, the other portion, and we'll work with a Little League also, is there in where you have the stands, there has to be some sort of platform where somebody's overseeing it. So there'll need to be some sort of modification to be able to oversee the field. That's another requirement that they have. But the biggest one, and it's just the lighting.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
honestly.
I would say a lot, like the mayor said, working with the Little League, on some of those upgrades, like recently they took care of, redoing some of the fencing out there. They've done some of the dugout, changes needing to be upgraded. So normally they're pretty good about helping us on that, respect. I mean, I don't know if you've been out there recently, but they were able to get donated, the concrete for it, but we have the batting cage out there now that they've added and in between two of the fields. And so they've done a lot to help, it ultimately benefits us too, in the use of our park. So.
No, when you say Little League, you're not talking about the organization. You're talking about the local Little League
Yes.
team.
Correct.
Yes. So we're talking about over $500,000 for lights.
Yeah.
And if we're bringing in $100,000 in hotel tax, we can't earmark 50% of what we bring in to pay for lights.
Mm-hmm.
The actual Little League, they don't have grants that we could apply for. I mean, Little League's supposed to be doing more than just, paying your dues.
Yeah.
And I know they have their tournament, that's their biggest expense. But there was no money through Little League itself.
I'm not aware of any. Not saying that there's
3
not.
years ago, I know that we looked into it and see if we qualified, but just because of the area, we did not qualify for that.
And if that money that we're looking at, let's just use that 65
Mhm.
for a number, that does not include anything that HEB or West Texas.
That's correct. So we do have money that could probably, at least for that initial amount, bring that number
Right.
down and then finance based on that amount. So HEB, I mean, I'll throw it out there. HEB was about 25,000, and West Texas was 10, and we had about 8, that we already had in the,
Which would help
just kind of the
first year.
coffers. So yeah.
So that money is going to be on the city to pay it.
Yes.
And in the past, the biggest discussion we've had in the past was the fact that it does impact our hotels.
Mhm.
And we don't have some tournaments. So the tournament, we have to have one a year, we have to have 2 a year. It has to be within the first 5 years. I mean, I always thought, I know, Lynette, when we talked about it in the past, that there was strict regulations on it.
Zach and I have went over this. But I do feel that this endeavor would put heads in beds for the city. There's a longer aspect to it than just Little League with it. It's also bringing in other tournaments and stuff that would come in that I feel comfortable signing off on this next year. So, and I'm more than welcome to go into detail with it later with you. But I just feel that this endeavor would help the city and it will I will be able to cover what I need to with the comptroller legally for the city.
Now, there is a possibility if, for whatever reason, the city.
For now.
For now, yeah.
For now.
For a while, I don't want to go into too much detail. All I can say is I do not have a concern of meeting the requirements for the comptroller's office to report this.
There's, and like I want to mention, I want to ask Paola because she's got a lot of background on this, but I do want to mention we've been really watching, and we did ask Austin too, but we've been watching, and we have people that are staying here, and they're playing around all of our area, whether it's south of us, north of us, east of us. There's a tournament going on, and they're staying in our hotel. So I mean.
It's not just
And in
the-
sense of the
it's not
support.
just the baseball. There's other stuff it would bring into it. Those lights could come in handy for events.
What is the city as far as renting out fields to other besides Little League? You know, because I've been approached off. There's an adult men's group.
So thank you for the
There's
transition.
an adult men's group that's asked, hey, can we borrow it on Sundays?
Correct.
Well, now we can have Sunday
That's
evening
what I'm
tournaments on
saying.
Saturdays to Sundays for them.
Sure.
So the
Yeah.
city would be inclined
There's
to
a lot
do.
of other things out there.
You have select ball, you have adult groups, you have
Yeah.
different things. So we would be inclined to do that also.
That would
Yes.
be correct. Yeah.
So Paula, that's where I wanted to go with the select ball, and then so
There are a lot, not just, like you said, there's always something out there, and I've had a lot of people contact me and ask about the part because, especially for Little League right now, this is the second year that they asked to do the actual tournament here for Little League, and they have to turn it down because we don't have lights. They could do the tournament here. They've already asked so many times to be able to do it here. That brings a lot of people here.
It does.
I mean, you have a big tournament like that, it's a lot of people. And the reason why they don't do it is because we don't have the lights. And so tournaments like outside, like select baseball, there's always something going on. It's not just your select team doesn't have to be from Divine, Natalia. You bring people from Austin, from San Antonio, we travel out. So we go to Corpus, we go to Austin, we go to San Marcos, and we stay over there because I don't want to drive back every morning. Same if they were coming here, it'll be the same thing.
I'm saying because I know when I ran NYP for a while, we tried to do this.
Yeah.
And the city shut it down as far as having anybody else come in to use the fields outside of what we were doing. So just want to make sure that there is going to be some
But you
kind of
so that's part
You know.
that's part of the contract, and that's why we have an annual contract with the Little League. So
Yeah.
whenever we incorporate that, that would be part of the discussion.
Correct. Yeah, we would want to make sure that we're covered, across the board for situations
Yeah,
like
and that's
that.
important because I know that Little League works on the field, they get
Yes.
everything cleaned up, and then here comes
Somebody
something
else.
over the
Yeah.
weekend, and then they come back and
Yeah.
say, what happened to our field?
Yeah.
I have to ask one more question, and I'm asking it for the citizens of Lido. This $100,000 that we have in hotel tax, if we were to look at this endeavor, we would be spending over 50% of that on paying this loan. What are we going to lose with what we currently are using it for? And if we're not using that 50 or plus percent, where has that money been going?
It's
And let me
sitting.
to that real
Go
quick,
ahead.
so you can answer both. If we bring in more heads for the beds, right? I don't know what our stats are now,
Yeah.
right? As far as that goes, I'd like to see something in that monthly, right?
Yeah.
That could actually increase, right? It could be instead of what we're doing now, double it because
Yeah.
we're bringing more people in.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. Yes, I mean it's based on how many people are staying, right? So I will say that we max out quite a bit over at that hotel. So obviously more hotels will help in that effort. But as far as I can't speak to, I think Lynette probably could speak to a little bit prior to what was happening. But when she got here, it started actually, putting the hot tax appropriately. It's sitting. It's really just sitting there in an account. I think it's a little over $500,000 right now. But obviously, I don't want to go just expend that whole account, right? Because who knows what we might need that for. We spend about 30,000, give or take, on the music fest. But that's, maybe Little League will ask for some here. I think they've come in the past, asked for a little bit of money here and there, or some other organization. But primarily, that's all we're using at this point for
Well,
those.
that's important information, and I appreciate
Yeah.
that, because we need that disclosure to
Yeah.
let everybody know that we're not just sitting around here with 100,000, we're just
No.
spending it on whatever.
Yeah.
So it's good that we do
Yeah.
have that in
Yeah.
reserve.
And being that it is so limited in what you can spend it on, I mean,
Right.
like even you would think, some advertising for events, well, that we can't even use it for that, for like our, Easter
And then
stuff.
we can only
and
answer
things.
for our administration, we can't answer for previous administrations.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you.
Correct, Michael.
Thank you.
And this is, have we looked at anybody else outside of who we have now for the lights? I mean, does it have to be this? And
We have, but I will tell you, Musco Lighting is the top. I mean, I literally have a guy that is in the parks business up in Dallas. Go ahead.
Can you talk about the
I
warranty?
can, yeah.
I think the council
Yeah.
needs to understand the reason that goes along with this.
Yeah. So, but I was talking this weekend. I was up in Dallas, and I was talking to he's the assistant director for a city up there in parks, and he's like, "Are you going with Musco? Because that's who you go with, right? Like that's what you do." One thing that we wanted to make sure in what we're getting for the 500,000, like what exactly are we paying for? One is that it is monitored for 25 years. I want to say they said that they completely monitor it, so they'll know way before that there's an issue on a light than we will ever know about it. And there's a warranty, 25-year warranty on parts and labor for that as well. The other thing is basically it'll come where we have an app. I'll have an app on my phone and I can control the lights from there anywhere I'm at. So we'll be able to really have flexibility and control over that. But I mean, the warranty is a massive, deal that we, don't have to come out of our
And I
pocket for
agree.
25 years.
and I agree, because my parents ran it back when I was a kid. They were presidents of, back then it was LYP, right? And
Yeah.
we've tried to get this done for years.
Yeah.
To bring in
How many years is that?
40 years. 40 years probably.
It would have been nice
And
at
it was
that price back then.
and it was-
I remember, it's been going on since I've been here.
Yeah.
I remember the original price they looked at to put lights out there, it was like $65,000.
Would have been nice.
Yeah. And we tried it for years, right? So promise, last question here.
Yeah, no, you're good.
65,000 a year.
Yes.
What about usage of the lights? As far as what are we looking at? Are we going to incur that cost also of, hey, it's going to be an extra 5,000 a month for electricity?
Yeah, I mean,
Are we using the lights? Are we going to split that? We paid for that.
yeah, our bill will go up, but I mean, that's, think something that we are going to have to work out with any contract, especially like the Little League contract and things like that. We'll have to look at things like
Part of
that
the rental.
because,
That's what I'm saying. Like if you use it for
Yeah.
that weekend, it comes out
Yeah.
to so much.
yeah, obviously without that right now, we don't talk about that, but I think that will have to be a part of the conversation because that's a large cost, or could be a large
So,
cost.
Clarification, if I have a professional league that I'm bringing in, softball league,
Mhm.
men's softball league, women's softball league, co-ed.
Yeah.
And I want to use the city's facilities, the city can charge me to use it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I see an ordinance that makes it.
Well, yes.
And the field, the specs of the field are, I know we redid them
Yeah.
10 years ago. Right around 10 years ago, we went and redid everything, and they're still.
Yeah, everything's
Pretty good shape.
good for
They
that.
redid the big one, not too long ago for the high school. So they had to go in.
Yeah, the big one
Yeah.
is it gives us a flexibility with amounts and everything to do for the children or an adults, so we can kind of move the bases and
Yeah,
everything else.
we purchased that last year
So-
to do that. So
I mean, it's kind of obvious, the more revenues you bring in, the lower that amount looks. So let's say we went with a 10-year loan on that the number that was presented,
Mhm.
that could be easily paid off prior to the maturity of the loan.
yeah, I would imagine so. I mean, we didn't have that conversation, but I mean, that's pretty
That
much
that would make
anything.
you just said it, I mean, all of a sudden
Yeah.
we're making good money.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
We could make, bigger
Yeah.
payments and so.
Yeah. I mean, you get another
Or we-
hotel and you double your hotel occupancy.
Or there
You
is a
know?
grant that pops up, and we get a
So what
grant
do you
for it
need?
later on.
What do you
We
need
could
right
put
now
towards
to
that.
move forward?
Normally, the grant would be before you start. But it,
Now I do know we do, and I didn't really talk about it because we do have potentially there is a foundation that we got approval for as long as we found 80% of the money. So it's possible we could still have some
Some
of
more.
it forgiven. So there's still some play in that number. As far as tonight, Michael, to answer your question, I mean, really, I just need direction, from council if this is the direction you wanted to go, the use of the hot tax, so that way we have that. I know that when we talked with Austin, there's probably some sort of resolution that we'll need to actually, stating that's how we are using the funds for that. And I think as far as the action tonight could include anything like that. Austin, you want
There's
to?
still some double checking. I don't know if y'all have looked at that next statute, but it gets super nuanced as far as, it's, are
So-
you located next to a certain
Yeah.
lake or a certain road? And so it's kind of convoluted. But in the end, for a project like this, the requirements, I think, are pretty straightforward. And so I wanted to double check on those exactly.
Yeah.
The vote today would just be, if y'all going to proceed with this at all, before any money gets expended, that would really be under.
And I will tell you this, that, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Austin, that it's just like what Pleasanton did and Jordanton did. You can, the rules with hot tax could change. If you look what other cities can do, if you go in and legislation has moved stuff around, and it's like, what Austin's saying, if you live in a certain area with a certain amount of people next to a river named so-and-so,
They're calling out a certain city, they're not saying the name of the city.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have one of those as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
It's like-
we can rename the canal if you want.
Yeah, if it'll get us the money, that's.
It really, so it's almost like there's towns in West Texas, they don't have any rules. They had all the rules where they could actually use their hot tax to pay back their bonds, which is a no-no here, so it just varied.
But
So
there'll
if
be
you
a
s-
resolution.
Yeah, so you can get into details, but if you just stick to the basics and you look at what the intent is and what we're going to do and what it's going to do for our community and those that are staying in the community because of the tournaments, it pretty much, and there's other communities already doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are already doing it. So this is an opportunity for us to formally go ahead and look into it and just go ahead and take care of what we need to for us to be competitive. I mean, we will put our park up to anybody. We need to work on parking and we'll take care of that. But you put our park up with the room it has and the trees it has and everything, and we will blow out anybody around this area and hosting tournaments. Bar none.
Well, and it may actually motivate somebody else to really bring a hotel in here.
There's
There's stuff working.
yeah.
A little more
Yes.
incentive.
So what do
Of
you
course.
need from us today? What do we need to make?
You only give.
I need
Austin, do you want to just clarify what it needs to be today?
Yeah, if y'all wanted to make a motion, we just need to direct city staff to proceed with this project, with expenditure on funds for.
Yeah, to come back with us with
Like, if
numbers.
there should be a resolution that comes back with
Yep.
these findings.
How about Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the city of Lidle, the use of hotel occupancy tax funding for the purchase and financing of baseball field, lighting and municipal John Lott Park
Perfect.
authorizing the city administrator.
with authorization to the city administrator for further investigation,
For
Forward.
for moving forward.
If we need anything else, we'll come back.
authorizing him to be the lead with it.
I would second.
Okay,
what he
got a
said.
second?
Yes.
Discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? All yeas, motion carries forward. Richie, is this the closest? Richie, is this the closest we ever gotten?
I'm telling you, if there's one thing I got tired of hearing about every year or two, it was this. We got proposals that just went on and on and on, so I'm just so glad that y'all did something.
Thank y'all for the community, I'm being honest, my son plays year round. So his team they're called the Pirates too. It's 10U Select, and there's 12U Select, and three's up there, and 8U. We want to host a tournament out here, but we can't. So, and we'll do it during winter. So you'll be able to charge us all year long. And there's multiple Lido teams that would like to get started, but we just didn't have the lights. So we start getting some big championships in baseball and stuff. Kids keep on playing. So thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, council. Thank you, Paula. Appreciate all that and all the work that goes along with that. Okay, council, let's go ahead and keep going on. Let's move on to F, and consideration and discussion concerning proposed budget submitted by Lido Police Chief for expenditure of funds awarded to the police department as proceeds resulting from disposition of forfeited property.
I'll let him pull this up. I didn't bring it. Okay, so a little background. When your money's, I'll give you a little background on this particular incident. Officer responded to the bank for some people passing some forged checks, just as a background of interest, but not really relevant to this. But anyway, some money, officer sees some money that was somehow or another gotten from forged checks at some banks all across who knows where. But anyway, so we ended up with 5,000 something exactly. And you go to the DA's office. We made a case on these people and charged them. And then DA, they decide, they look at it and say, yeah, we'll do a civil forfeiture on the money. So they, in addition to their criminal case, they do a civil case to get the money awarded. Now their incentive is they get like 30%. So that's why they do all that. And so basically they run with it. And if they get it awarded to them, then we get 70% back. So that's what this is. And it takes a while. I don't remember exactly. It's probably been about a year. So really when you seize money like that, you kind of seize it and you just kind of forget about it and hope one day they call and tell you that, hey, we got some money awarded, which is what happened. Law changes every now and then, but it requires now, and I had to talk to Austin to confirm everything because we haven't done this in 5 or 6 years. I just have to basically tell you that we got $366.12. And then I tell you basically what we're spending that on. 3,000. What did I say? 300? Yeah, well, that's how people go to prison. They try to keep a little on the side, you know. But, a little mistake.
Now we know how the evidence works.
Yeah. So, anyway, so basically we just took some purchases, and a lot of those, out of curiosity, the tablets for Captain Deere and Sergeant Lopez. We're doing a lot more emergency management stuff and communicating. We went and got a couple of tablets for them, some uniforms, and a lot of new stuff for the 2 new guys, and a taser for one of the new positions that we really didn't have budgeted for that stuff, and then some office equipment. So just kind of hit and miss on some things to come up to that amount. So that's kind of what it is. And it doesn't, they approve it, they don't approve it, they just.
It's just a consideration. Yes, as far as I can tell, it explicitly says as long as you're not elected police chief, it's a little bit different. But the chief has sole discretion over how to use these funds. As best I can tell, it's really just to let you all know so that, and it even includes language that council can't turn around and like knock off 3,600 from the police budget, right? It's not intended to replace funds y'all have already allocated. But if y'all were, say, fixing to buy a police car this year or next year, and he got funds to buy a car this year, it's just so you're not duplicating expenditures, or if you were already planning to buy any of these things, you could spend that money elsewhere within the police department. You couldn't go take it away and spend it somewhere else. And so it's really just an update for
Yeah.
report.
Yeah, and it's just with it being $3,600.12, it's not a, obviously.
The only question, and this is more just for the retainability and the records that go along with that. Lynette, is there anything that the auditor needs to be notified?
So, well, first of all, and you'll actually get the email too. We have to every year file a seizure report with the Attorney General's office, and and if we don't get any money or expend any money, it's very simple. You click, and I, sign it basically electronically. But since we had expenditures this year, there's actually their audit that goes down and keeps all it. So then we have a folder and it's going to have all these items. And then inside of it, we'll have, duplicates of all the receipts in our records. Of course, they'll keep what they need, but then we'll have duplicates only because, I could, they could send me to prison or something if I'm doing something wrong. So, but yes, we have a specific account that it has to come,
Because
goes into.
we
and
would
comes out.
use, like, when you purchase some of these items, you use their city credit card right?
Yes,
Yeah.
all that goes
So-
that way. Mhm.
So we have to be able to kind of show it somehow.
This will show up as like fresh revenue. Use our own budget, and then once he's actually bought these items, there's a second document that looks a lot like this. That's called an audit. They ask you to file it with the city secretary and maintain it as a police department record. But it just has the receipts attached.
Basically the
These
same.
things actually got purchased.
Yeah.
All of that money though is supposed to be accounted for through this extra funds. that
Yep.
are shown on policy. So
So we set up an extra fund for him, and he had one actually in the past. But we have a forfeiture fund, and the money is dedicated in a separate area and it is tracked separately for his benefit and ours.
Yeah, the state required. There's a lot of people in prison now because of seizure money. Cops, everybody, So
Your auditor should have no issues
Yeah.
with
it's pretty simple. Should be very simple.
Well, we appreciate it, Richie, and I'm glad, honestly.
Congratulations.
It's not a lot. Again, when you get something like this, you seize it, the DA says, we're going to work on it, and then it may be a year. We had one thing 10, 12 years ago. It took like 2 years time we eventually got the,
I always remember you bringing out the colognes that we.
yeah.
put in the auction. How
Oh,
long did you
yeah.
have
We
those
did really
colognes?
good on those,
How long was that?
long time. Almost a long
They
time,
still
but-
smelled okay.
And people bought all that
They
stuff.
bought them all.
It was pretty
That's
wild.
part of the city auction.
Yeah.
So,
But anyway, so that's that. All pretty basic. It really helped us because we hadn't adjusted the budget any for that new position yet. So this is going to help take a lot of that off. So it's came out okay.
thank you, Richie.
I have a
Council.
question before you take off.
Yes, sir.
So, I know you mentioned this before, but I'd like to ask the question again. How are the uniforms paid for or distributed to, or what's the officer responsible for as far as uniforms?
So we provide the uniforms and they get a monthly allowance of $75, before tax because they wash, dry their clothes and of course they have to other things. We don't provide boots. We don't provide undershirts. We don't provide. So basically we when we hire someone, we try to provide them with, 3 or 4 sets, depending on what we have around the office too. We mix and match. A lot of the stuff I wear, these pants were Gordon's. And so, we don't, we just kind of,
You can fit it in there.
yeah. So that's when he retired. He said, the fact that you're wearing some of my old pants that got too big for me, I can't handle that. It's killing me, but
Are uniforms provided every year?
no, sir. No.
Just the
Yeah,
additions?
initial, and then we do buy them as they wear out, or as someone, if someone tears something or whatever, and we just kind of buy them. Now we'll tell you, a lot of the people buy their own stuff. Like Gordon bought these all at the BX because he has a certain, sometimes a certain pant fit a little better. So a lot of the guys like me, most of the stuff I have, I bought myself through the years, but but so we don't have a big. And when we say uniforms, we're also putting in there the duty gear, the belts, and the stuff that used to really be not very expensive, and now it's really changed a lot. And hats and different things we buy throughout. We got coats, raincoats, which we used to use raincoats, but we don't use them anymore.
New patches and badges every month.
Yeah,
Okay,
I also
was
buy
my question.
myself.
Because it was why those items were showing up as part of the money being used.
Yeah,
So that makes
well,
sense.
what happened is when we added the new position that we didn't know we were going to get the grant for, we didn't actually have any money budgeted for that like a taser and for stuff for that person. We had talked and said we were going to adjust some budgets, which we still may have to because we got to buy body armor things. But this took a lot of that burden off that unfunded position that we didn't have.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
To the extent if y'all want to make a motion, it would just be to accept the budget as is.
Yeah.
It's not an option again, to approve or disapprove, but you can acknowledge that you're
Okay.
accepting it as presented.
Accept the budget. Okay. Can I get a motion for?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed budget submitted by Lytle Police Chief and expenditures of funds awarded to the police department as proceeds resulting from disposition of forfeited properties.
A motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you so much. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate that. I should just go ahead and start saying LA, legal Austin.
Legal
Yeah.
Austin.
I
Right?
sent an email to Austin yesterday, about asking about some of this stuff, and I get a call from this Austin going, I think you sent the wrong Austin. That's happened several times.
Yeah. So,
Legal Austin, Animal Austin.
so you'll be known as LA now.
You'd be
Legal Austin. How's that? PA and LA.
PA, LA, and AA.
AA. Well, that doesn't go too
Well, okay.
good. Yeah, AA.
We'll do DA. I don't know.
Very good. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to G. This is discussion and possible action concerning contracting with New Gen Strategies and Solutions to perform a water and wastewater rate study for the city of Lytle. Zach.
All right. So, Mayor and Council wanted to present this item. I know that it's been at least 2 years, I guess now, since we looked at the water and wastewater rates. It was before I got here. I think at that time it was talked about, potentially every couple years looking at it again. And then also, as Lynette and I have been speaking with our financial advisors as we look at, going out for potentially down the road another bond, that was a part of that conversation, as well as, looking at our rates as well as our capital improvement plans and how the impact fees and everything associated with that. So wanted to present this as an option. We can pay for it out of the impact fees. There's a lot that goes into it once we get the numbers. So wanted to have that kind of going into right before budget and have those numbers so that way we can hold public hearings if necessary and that kind of stuff. Ideally, what I'm looking for, or what we should be looking for out of this, is to really come up with, and I don't think this was the case last time, but really, maybe a 5-year plan where we can, kind of slowly implement new rates if, council chose to do so. There would still need to something each time to come before y'all, but really have a plan forward so we know. Samco has highly suggested New Gen. New Gen has worked with us obviously before as a part of the stormwater fee setup with Kimley Horn. So, we feel really comfortable with the work that they provide for us, their proposals in there, but we just wanted to bring it forward and see if that's for sure something that council wants to proceed doing, since it had been discussed before. So
Would they be able to get this done before we get deep into the budget year?
we should, yes. That shouldn't be an issue. I will say that Lynette has already had some just initial conversations, obviously we're not being charged for it, but that a lot of the data, because we had to pull some of that stuff for the stormwater, is really somewhat there. So even that cost of that 44,000 could decrease just because they have they should have some of that info already. So I think it'll move pretty quickly. So
One of the great things about this, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but it'll come up in brief, is, thanks to our public works, what we've been talking about, bridging that gap of what we actually pump and how much we bill. And we needed to have some sort of control with that before you start jumping into this. So we kind of have a fair assessment of the amounts to try to calculate all those things. Because as you look at that map, you can see how much water we had and how many leaks we had before. So being able to control that and then have the experts come in and kind of look at the numbers and kind of put a perspective is going to be able to help us out.
I know this is always a touchy subject, when you're talking fees and rates and things like that. And especially as we just implemented, the new stormwater fee and charging that. So I totally understand. And I know it's not an easy, process to go through and a decision to go through, but it is something, unfortunately, that, water and sewer's not cheap, and we got to run our system, and we need people to be able to support that. So
Yeah, and the big thing, council, is we're not trying to make money. We just need to break even. And that's the whole thing. But I think it's important for us with our citizens, like we've done in the past, is just make sure that we do it at a comfortable level as we do this. So the data might show us something, but then it's our decision to be able to say, okay, this is how we
Correct.
think would be appropriate.
at the end of the day, even if they come up with something, it's ultimately your decision on what you do. So, but at least you'll have the data and the numbers in front of you.
So the city is not required or obligated to conduct this study.
We're not required, no, but it is best practice to do it. It is something that cities need to do to make sure that they know where they're sitting at. And even if you go through the process, I get spending $44,000 and then you don't do anything, but that is still an option. You could still say, yeah, we're comfortable with where we're at, even with the data presented. So.
And you can recoup the funds you spend on a study like this can be factored in as a cost to operate the water system. So when they give you that final number on here's the rates you would need to turn on a reasonable rate of return, right? Will be a profit and not lose money, most importantly, that can factor in for $44,000.
Yeah. And we will need it if we have any other major projects in the future and we do the certificates of obligation. That's one of the reports or information that they ask from us to be able to include in there.
Yeah, it does. I mean, as you see, I think it's on their, their page 3 of their study or their proposal, I'm sorry, where it talks about it kind of has a flow chart. But you can see like the CIP and existing debt and any projected debt plays into, the rate, right? And so if we need, a new, I know we're working on a new booster station, but if we need a new booster station in 5 years after that, then we need to know and start building appropriately for that. And the impact fees and the water rates can help with that. So
And that was going to be my next question. This study will look into our current facility as is and what improvements are needed.
correct. Yeah.
So
So
they're going to make suggestions on what improvements are needed.
yes. And I'm also having Kimley Horn, not Kimley Horn, Cobb Finley, who was one of the engineers we went with, looking at the overall CIP and getting us an update on that as well. So in conjunction, so they're getting me a proposal for that as well. So
What's the amount of money we bring in on stormwater?
I don't know this last time.
No, not stormwater, I'm sorry, on this waste. What's the total number? Minus, not including any costs or expenses. What's the total revenue we're bringing in?
For utilities or waste?
Waste.
Waste.
This is what the study's for, right?
It's water and
Water.
wastewater.
Water and waste.
Water and wastewater.
Okay, so then it would be.
They play together because you're based on how much you pump and you do a study every you do a quantity every 6 months based upon how much of your consumption comes through. That's how much you're going to get charged for your water. Okay, so it's really going to affect mostly your commercial accounts, right? So right now, based upon that, our water's running around $78,000 to $90,000, depending on what time of the year. Our sewer rates run in between 35 to 40 right now. And I'm not talking, but you got to remember too, Paula and Zach are booking anywhere between 10 to 12 new homes every 2 weeks.
So let's just say we're roughly, to be safe, about 80,000 for a 6-month period. And we're going to pay somebody 44,000 to run a study. That number doesn't look good.
But
I mean, the ROI on that, I know it's going to be for us to evaluate what we can charge our citizens. I mean, that's basically what we're looking at.
Yes.
How much we can increase per year, come up with some kind of a growth plan. And then 2, are they going to take that into consideration? Because they did that on the wastewater. They had the projected growth of the city.
Yeah, so they'll look at the projected growth, what we already know, and what we could potentially see. So yeah, they'll look at that, commercial as well as residential development. So
And on the stormwater, there's not enough information there that's specific enough to look at.
no, I mean a lot of it helps feed just because it's utility, right? So it all helps feed some of that, but no, not as far as down depth data that they would look at for this
And the last time
specifically.
we did this?
Mayor, probably.
21 and 22?
I think it started in 21, but we implemented it in 22, correct?
Yep. So that, based on that one, it helped us out with the elevated tank, the booster pump, and the 12-inch
Maine.
main that I was doing. And then it also helped us with the wastewater for us to do the plants for the expansion.
It also helped us establish the base rate as well, right?
Yeah, the impact fees came out of that.
So,
When we tried to do this about a year and a half ago, but the problem was when I was working with TRC and we were putting these numbers together, pulling these numbers out, he kept coming back, well, that just doesn't make sense. Because we were losing so much water in these,
Yeah, like the mayor was
on these,
saying.
right. So the consumption based on the water pumpage was, the variation was there and we couldn't make sense of it. So now I think we're at a perfect time that we can actually get real numbers of our cost, of our direct cost, of our indirect, to get a good cost consumption of what we're doing to make sure the city's not losing money.
it'd be more accurate for us to be able to do that. So,
It is intended to cover two.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I can tell you, I mean, just from discussions in the past, and we've been talking about them, I know we have what we have in front of us, but I can definitely tell you that one of the next things is going to be a new well. We're going to need to go ahead and get another well. But when you go down that road, guess what they're going to ask for?
Yes.
I will tell you to,
You're looking directly at, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. You're fine.
You're looking directly at income, at revenues coming in, but you're not taking into consideration the impact fees that we are allowed by law to pay for this for. So Zach and I really looked at that. We went through all the legal on that. I'm sure you talked to Austin. I have it, but we can use those fees. So I'm booking these acquisitions and these impact fees with no way to really use them because they're extremely controlled. But now, I mean, this is something that we can sit on it. How much do I have in acquisition? I think around 700,000 altogether between impact and acquisition on sewer and water.
Yeah. There's two parts when you do this plan. The one is to look at your numbers and the financials that go along with that. And the second part that is very beneficial is they start giving you an indication of, okay, here's what's next and here's the hurdle. This is where your bogey is going to be, where you're going to need to take that other. Just like I remember from the very beginning, they said you hit 400 homes out there, you're going to reach 75% capacity within your wastewater. You need to have your permits done by this time. You need to turn this in. You need to go ahead and start financing. So it also helps you because it builds a timeline for those projects that are going to be required and when you need to be able to do that. So there's multiple roles that come out of being able to put this plan together.
Good information.
Yeah.
Mayor, can I make a motion on this?
Yes.
I make a motion that we direct the city administrator to proceed with negotiations to establish contract with New Gen Strategies and Solutions to perform wastewater and water and wastewater rate study for the city of Wyoming.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor.
I'll second that.
Have a second. Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, so 1, 2, Paula, if you can please track. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 days. Okay, awesome. Okay, motion carries forward. Zach, time to get to work. Okay, so we can take care of that. All right, we still have, well, we're getting pretty close. Can we go ahead and knock out the director's reports before we go on break? Is that okay?
I'm sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and take care of item number 7, director's report. Cassandra, come on up. Let's go ahead and take care of the library.
Put Richie on time. Strict time.
Oh, he's got 5 minutes. Everybody's got 5 minutes. Cassandra says I'll give him 3 of mine.
Exactly. You can't yield back.
So February, we had 70 computer users and 61 in the kids section. We checked out 1,201 checkouts. It's being a short month, this was kind of slow. We had 12 users total and 31 checkouts. It's still, a lot of people want the actual book. They're not wanting to go to the electronic, but we do have some that are starting to come in. It's just that they would prefer the actual book. We had 7 new accounts, 22 account renewals, and April, May 12 library cards. We have story time in the library crochet group, and we also have another group that we're creating that's going to, I think, replace the crochet group, but it's going to incorporate their crochet group as well. But,
Like skills or something.
it's going to be called Craft with Us, so everybody will be in everybody together, like all the different. So if somebody's painting or somebody's doing just different things, they're all going to come together then, rather just crochet. And then we had a county librarian meeting in Jordanton, and then Cecilia from she came out with the Safe Riders
How
car
did that
seat.
work out?
She had 3 people registered but they didn't show. But she had another one that caught her last minute, so she was able to come in. So she said she gets light elsewhere, like at other places, like sometimes in Pleasanton, and so they'll go that way instead. But she's still working with that. Let's see, we're still working on those 2 sections and still offering the curbside. That's the calendar for February, and these are the displays. We had bubblegum day, so we passed out bubblegum for the kids. The bottom left is the wedding month, and then the right side was Valentine's Day. And then the top was rodeo, and then it was 100th day of school, and then Chinese New Year, which is the year of the snake. And in the middle, I think, is Great American Pie and Heart Health. And then on the right side, we did a poll for who was going to win the Super Bowl. And it was actually even. We had 19 votes on one side and 19 votes on the other side. So it was actually pretty cool. And then Black History Month on the bottom. And that's it.
Okay, go back. I saw something.
I don't know.
Okay. Keep going. Okay, right there.
Hmm.
So February the 24th is National Tortilla Chip Day. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's actually a chip and dip day this month. I think it's the 26th. Chip and dip. Yeah, I know, they're just weird holidays.
I know in October they celebrate as nachos. It's a big festival
we have-
they throw in October, but I
There'll
didn't
be
know
like-
that we actually had a tortilla chip day.
Yeah, there's actually one for pizza day, all kinds of different days. So we'll put little
Clam
stuff out here and
chowder?
there.
Wow.
Yeah, there's different things. There's
National Chili Day. That sounds good.
and there's actually a Squirrel Appreciation Day, but I didn't put that one on here.
Hey, over in Hondo, they got to celebrate February the 28th now.
Oh, National Tooth Fairy Day.
Yeah, Tooth Fairy. They found all those teeth over there.
Oh, yes.
All
I
those
read about
teeth.
that.
So,
Yeah.
we start a festival
Yes.
over at Hondo.
Yes.
We get all the teeth. Yeah. Over at Hondo.
That's
Council,
it.
any
You got any
questions?
questions? No?
Anything else?
Okay. All right. You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Appreciate it. All right. All right, here we go. Talking about finding stuff when they dig. I know. These guys find a lot of stuff when they dig.
For the month of February, we had a total of 92 work orders, 72 are water related, 3 new meters installed, 3 main breaks, 30 meters that were replaced, service line replaced is 0, angle stops 4, the meter washers, we had 1, 0 service line leaks, and 1 customer leak. So the rereads this month for the water customers were 23, and the city requested 7. 4 sewer main stoppages. We still have them at that same address over there in the trailer park.
Is it all 4 of them?
All 4 of them are for those same addresses that we've talked about. I thought it was 1 on Martin. You only had the 1 there.
So 2 of Martin, 2 and 2.
But we still having trouble at that trailer park one.
So I need a photo. Is it still mostly the flushables and all that?
Wipes, rags.
I need photos so
Yes,
we
sir.
can blast them out and we can make copies and put them in the utilities. Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll do.
So,
We could definitely get you some photos.
Let's
of that.
remind folks out there because it's not fun. I think it was. What was it? It was a Monday night, and you guys were responding to one. I remember you guys going and getting the truck and go take care of one. So, and try to help each other out that way.
Okay. So just pictures coming forward from these
And you
places.
pulling them out.
Yes, sir.
I see that monster.
You'll
coming
see
out.
my hand in there with it. All right, so for miscellaneous work orders, we had the finals, which are like the lockouts. Go ahead, locking the meters. We had 4 new that we had to turn on for new residents. We had 2 for cutoffs, The reconnect, we had 0, and we had 3 miscellaneous work orders. Current leaks, we have coal mine right across from that park. We have Wisdom and Mason, I know is 1. We also have another one on 2790 going north, right before the animal control. That one's not listed on here, but it needs to be.
So it's on the map, right?
It's on the map,
Are
yes,
those
but
the
it's
three
not on
right
the.
there then?
Yes, sir. We have
Awesome.
3 from our original 11, 12. So we got just those 3 left, 2 on here. So we'll get those pretty much knocked out here soon. Nothing no more. We don't have that one farther up still. We don't have the one farther up still. The one further up that you almost got
This
stuck
one
in.
done?
That's done then.
So there's a total of 23 that we had, and we're down to 2.
Yes, sir. I must have been on vacation for that day too.
That is awesome. Okay. So this one is a 3-inch, and this one is a 3/4 inch. Those are the 2 that are left. Nice.
Yeah, that, you can hit the cap. So we're gonna change out that cap and do a new cap for it.
That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Huge, huge. That's good.
Same stuff. Same stuff. I was like, no, man. I didn't.
Okay.
I was trying to go backwards. You were good. You just went to Ricky's. I don't know how to read this one out.
Yeah, so they finally switched over our numbers. I think that top though is the from the previous, like where we ended up. Or no, I'm sorry. That's our full authorized pumping after the reduction, and so then you'll see the pump for the month there, 79, give or take acre feet, and then total for the month for the year thus far is the 164.
So the 164, that just goes through December.
That would be January and February. Yeah, because it's the new year. It's calendar year. So.
Oh, okay. So January, February.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yep.
So 164 for 2 months.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I know it says on there, it said for a while, the East Medina interconnection. So I actually just had a conversation with Cobb Finley. TRC originally was going to be doing that project. I've moved Cobb Finley to doing that project. They actually have touched base with the engineers for East Medina and are meeting on site either this week or next week. So we'll hopefully start to see some movement on that project as well. So, yeah, that's the Respec people is East Medina's engineers. So just FYI.
Got it.
Yeah. And so then obviously, as you see here, the stage 4, and how many days we've been in that. So, which has been the whole year thus far.
I was about to say.
And then we stuck this on here. So this is just some of the general maintenance items that the guys do at each of their locations. So we have the sewer plant there on the left and the lift station at the sewer plant listed as well. So you can kind of see that especially the biggest one, I think, which wasn't being done before, was that weekly greasing. I think that was something that came out of previous complaint and stuff like that. So that's on there. And then well 4, what goes on there, just daily items that they're looking on. Pretty simple. The booster and the water storage tanks, and we've had a lot of work going on over there. So we did complete the clay valve. So we did pump 2. So we have 3 existing booster pumps. Pump 2 was I guess, Mayor, you said probably 12 years it hasn't
12
fully
years.
worked. It's working.
Well, it works, but only manual.
Correct. It
The
works
clay valve
manual.
was not
Yeah. So
working.
now they replaced the clay valve completely, and the bearings and everything that go along with that. It's now going on auto finally for the first time in 12 years. And then they did some work. The shell of the clay valve was fine for pump one, but there were still components within it that needed to be replaced. So they were able to replace that. Then they did a couple little things on the existing one that was already, pump three that was going, and it was going fine. And there's still some additional work that needs to be done, but we have some other company looking at what needs to be done on some bearings out there. But we're finally at a point where I think it's functioning the way it's supposed to for the most part, so for the first time in a long time, which is great. A little bit.
The other weekend, Pete was like, "You haven't given me a call. I miss you." We're usually talking about something.
Yeah. And then just well too, we are flushing every week, and I've already talked with Pete about getting our first samples out of there and seeing where we're at on the levels. He did give me a cup of the water after it had run, and it smells a heck of a lot better, and it I didn't taste it, but I mean it looks a heck of a lot better. So so I'm hoping that's good news for that. So we'll get the first samples on that and then let y'all know and pass that along to TCEQ. So and that's it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So from the maintenance side, okay,
I'll let you speak.
let's go ahead and make sure that the checklists, daily, weekly, bi-weekly, get very detailed, okay, where anybody can read it and everybody understands on there.
Yes, sir.
I need you to go ahead and think of seasonal. What do you need to do to prep? You guys done a great job of prepping our booster station for the cold weather. That needs to be on the checklist. What month do you start looking at it? So remember, you got to build it to where your replacement, whoever comes after you, knows exactly what needs to be done so we have continuity. So build it as daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or seasonal, whenever it is, and what you need to do. So that way it's real easy to follow the things that you need to do. Some of it just comes out normally. The air conditioner. There's an air conditioner that is in that unit for all the electronics. Turning it on, turning it off, getting it inspected, make sure that everything is operational so we don't have to worry about, it's been off for a whole week and it's blazing hot inside. That's where all the electronics is on. Stuff like that, okay? Once again, just put it to where it's very simple, and then anybody can walk and grab it and say, hey, I need to go do this, and be familiarized.
Yes, sir. We can definitely get started on that.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You guys have been doing a great job. We're way ahead. This is really good, so we really appreciate it.
So, Mr. Zachary, you have that format in mind?
Yeah, I do. I mean, this is what they got for me, so I wanted to make sure that we all had something. 'Cause I know
Yeah,
it's
this
been
is a very
something
good
that's been-
overall summary.
Correct.
Presented here.
Correct.
And
Yes.
You're gonna get with the other department heads as well.
Yes. Yeah, because I know that's been a constant thing of yes.
Yeah. I have one other question for Lynette. These rereads, they're high every month now on the customer request. At one point, we talked about having a charge after maybe like the second request.
So that is something that we're going, we don't have that on fee schedule. I don't have an approved fee on that. That is something that Zach and I actually talked about. We're gonna have to update the fee schedule, and then we have to have it rewritten into our utility ordinance, because it's not there. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's time and effort. It's money that the city's
it's money
spending
spent.
at the request of the
I-
customer.
money spent. That a lot of them are requested by the customer. They see a big jump in the water. We do try to talk to them and to, before we do send Pete out there or any of the guys out there, but I do agree with you. It's something, and Zach and I both talked about it before, but we don't have it written in there.
Right.
If we talked about other other issues with our the utility ordinance and the fee schedules that, we're going to have to update those.
Lynette, can you relook at that? I thought we did say we were going to be charging them after the second.
Right, but I
We
think
wrote it in.
we never put it in there.
Yeah,
though.
we talked
The
about
actual
Talked about
fee.
it, but we never put it
Yeah, but it's been, we've talked about it. So we need to get it in there. Yeah, we need to get it in there because we talked, I want to say about a year.
It was about a year, it was before he got here. We were
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah,
But
we
it's-
talked
I
about
agree.
having,
It's a lot of time and effort on administrative as well as public works.
yeah. So, yeah, let's get it in there because I think the council at that point, the direction was after the second.
Yeah, it should be very simple if y'all want to try and quickly out how to do it.
Is there any section that even would have to be in the utility ordinance? I feel like if we just adopted it, the fee schedule is.
I think you probably want to clarify whether, the only reason you put in the ordinance is if you want to say whether or not there's a difference if they're right or not, right? Like if they request a reread.
That would be the.
I think what we agreed
You
is
have to have a new section
that they get two per year. They get two per year. After the second one, then they get charged. So they can have one in the beginning, one way over here, but they get two free rereads, and then after that.
We can work on the language and bring something.
It would be very simple.
Yeah,
I mean, that's something we could do.
Yeah,
Try it. Do it.
be able to do that.
Most
Yeah.
of the time, if we see a big variance in the numbers and stuff, we reach out to Pete or Austin and say, hey, what do you think of this? We're trying to keep them down to minimal, but we do have a lot of customer requests.
Right.
Now, we
Yeah,
did
I've
put a
just
lot
seen
more.
it recently go up, because it was for a while there, only like 5 over.
I don't think we really had a lot of leaks last month, or customer leaks, but most of them, I think we had a lot of real parts. A lot of real parts.
I also have a question. Do we have a schedule for road repairs? Or is that just by work request?
Yeah, probably need to put a work order, it's by work request.
Like what kind of road repairs?
Just patching potholes?
Yeah, so people will call in and say, hey, like, we've got a hole over on Somerset Street, and then we'll do a work order through the system, get put back to Pete, and public works will go out here and patch it, turn it in, and usually all of the girls or one of us will call back to the rest of the day, and let you know this is taking care.
But I do know one that somebody was or
Yeah.
you, and we can address that with that particular issue.
Okay.
$1.
Yeah.
So we have, and it's a good question. So we have the ones that are the normal that we got to take care of, and Public Works will do, and then we have the one that we should be starting to look at it because for budget, we look at, okay, do we have the money to repair a few streets where we actually do the overlay and repair? So that's going to be the next one too. All right. All right. Richie. Richie in 2 minutes.
There we go. Nothing, page one, nothing out of the ordinary there. Cost of service probably down a little bit. Basic numbers there. Citation data 180. Let's see, what was the leader motor vehicle registration? And it's followed by no insurance. And then driver's license. So kind of the same stuff there. And the chart showing said numbers. I'll look at the rest. Wow, not too many. Let's see, alcohol, 4 alcohol related, and 2 warrants. So kind of a slow month. Theft, only 2, I believe. Let me see if can I go back with this? Let's see. Yes, only 2. Again, kind of scary numbers because they are so low. But I'm not gonna. Maybe it's just.
Is that the one that showed up last
So
night?
yes, I'll tell you. In 224, we had a 2001 Chevrolet Silverado taken from Lyle Apartments. Last night, about 1 o'clock in the morning, officers get a call from SAPD that they're following a stolen vehicle. They found it 35 in Division. It comes down, gets off somewhere on 35, goes way through the back roads of Bexar County, comes out down 2790, turns on 463, ends out down there, comes out 683, and then into Coal Mine, into Twin Lakes. And by then, Medina County, our guys are kind of blocking one entrance to Twin Lakes, and we don't run. So they get over there and they've arrested these two local kids in this stolen vehicle. Two people we've arrested before. So, but our guys at the scene don't realize, and nobody happened to mention, that this is a vehicle that actually was stolen from here on the 24th. So, yeah. So anyway, that's why I was a little late today. I was trying to figure out with them guys. They said, "Oh no, we were out there. We didn't know that was our stolen vehicle. That's why we didn't have all the information, because we got there. They had the guys. They were hooking them up, and we were like, okay, everything's good. So I tell them, hey, if they don't need you, get back to." And that's what they did. But so we figured it out. But yeah, it ended up back out here. So kind of strange. So our one stolen vehicle came home, and the only thing wrong, the ignition was busted. I think there were some tools missing, maybe, but interesting, kind of weird. Just a long joyride, I guess. No burglaries, no financial crimes, fire marshal stuff. What we do having these guys trained, we had down there at Outlaw Seafood Bar and Grill. Remember, it was really cold, so they got some heaters. But the problem is they don't really have room to put heaters up against the building. So Roger saw that. He got over there with the fire department, and they looked with their thermal, and there was a whole lot of heat transfer to the building. So it could have started a fire. So having these people, it's something Roger caught at night, having these people trained like that helps us observe some hazards. And then we did the Texarkana Boutique, phase one, we'll call it, a food trailer, and then a food trailer. And then, of course, we get some phone calls, and we do some stuff with Project Cinco, too, throughout the deal. But that's kind of what we have right that month. Activities, of course, we had a class in Conroe I've been trying to get to for a couple of years, but they had it in Conroe. We went to that as Matt and David and I. We had a department head meeting. We had greeted students at the primary school. We had a cops hiring program online that Matt took. Medina County Sexual Assault Team meeting. One of the officers requested to go over to Divine High School. They have a law enforcement classes, and we did a ask baton and a handcuffing class for them, because we have baton instructors and we have the bags. So they got a kick out of that. And powerlifting team, another escort, and a little bit of drone training from the company. We've still got more to go. But criminal cases, Ascos County Attorney's Office, 6 people, 8 charges. Felony cases, 9 people, 9 charges. Nothing with Medina. And last 2/19, the 28-day period, we had 20 hours overtime, 120 hours vacation, 141 sick time, 25. Some of that was Gordon's final stuff, and really the overtime, half of that was working the train thing out there, to kind of have a person there. So really not much overtime when you look at 4 weeks, So even with that, you're only averaging 5 hours a week. Oh, that's not it. So we do have the 2 new hires. We should be bringing one on March 20th, and then the other one potentially April 3rd. So we're set there. We've got almost everything set up for them that they're going to need, and just the paperwork once they get it. Gone very, very smooth, kind of scarily smooth.
Not good. Council, any questions for Richie? All right. Thank you, Richie. Appreciate that. All right, Paula, it is 8:18. Let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We'll come back. to show it's 8:36. Yeah, go ahead and show us back. We'll go ahead and jump right in. Go ahead and jump right in into number 8, executive session. The City Council, City of Lidle may convene an executive session in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, Section 551.072, real property, Section 551.074, personal matters to discuss and consider the following items. A, discussion concerning activities, a EMC strategy for the City of Lidle. B, update on discussions with Lidle State Bank on investments held at the bank. And C, discussion concerning pending litigation and civil citation filed with Atascosa County District Court. Okay, got it. So, got it. Okay. So let's go ahead and show it is 8:37. If we can go ahead and show going into executive session, council and LA, Google Austin, join us in the back. I appreciate that. All right. Paula, if you can actually show us coming out of executive session, it's 9:01 p.m.
Microphone.
Paula, please show us, thank you. Show us coming out of executive session at 9:01 p.m. No action taken. We'll move on to number 9, discussion and possible action regarding matters discussed in executive session. Same thing. No actions on that, so we'll just go ahead and move right into the informational items. Item number 10. So we'll go ahead and get started over here. Go down. Paula, anything? Nope. Okay. Nothing. Richie? Nothing at all? We're all good? Okay. Back over here. Miguel?
Yes, sir, I do. The Lido Junior High and high school bands had UIL competitions this week. This was for concert and sight reading. And I'm very happy to report that the junior high got level 1, which is the highest you can get. And the high school, I think it's now 7 years in a row. There's level 1. And they got straight ones, which is really good. And I'll just say, if you've never seen a sight reading competition, this will blow you away. They go into a room, they say, "We have a piece of music. Here's the name of the title of the music and the writer of the music. Has anyone ever seen this music or played it?" And they pick some obscure piece, and then they give it to the band director for 7 minutes to look at it, while they're talking to the band and giving them all the rules. And then the band director comes out, and I think he has, 7 or 10 minutes, something like that. And he's only allowed to do certain things with them to prepare. Then they bring 3 judges, and they play it. And it's amazing. It sounds great.
And the director can't sing or hum any part of it.
No. He can't play any instrument. He can't sing or hum. He can direct them, do this, and he can have them go over one section 5 times if he wants. And you think this just isn't going to work. But then, okay, here come the judges. Okay, you ready? And they play it. Bam, straight ones. All the judges, both in the full concert, the music that they've been practicing for weeks, straight ones. And then 3 different judges, so it's 3 outside and 3 in the back room. 6 judges all gave number 1. So the band's doing very well. And remember, they went to state this year for marching, first time ever. So they're doing very, very well. We're proud of the band.
Yeah, we got to be proud. Got to be proud. Those kids just been unbelievable. The stuff. And it's.
I had never seen it. So my son is actually in band, and I had gone over there, and I've never done the sight reading. So the way she was actually directing them is like, okay, it's this kind of tempo, this speed, and then tells them what to do on this part. The clarinets do one thing, flute does another thing. And I didn't know what was going on until they were all playing at the same time when I tell them to go. And then when they were ready, it was so like flawless.
It flows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
amazing.
how do they do that?
Amazing.
It was really good.
That is awesome. I love it. I love it when it all comes together. Thank you.
Well, the last big thing for band this year is the solo and ensemble UIL. And that's going to be, I think, the week before school's out this year. So they'll do the preliminary for that, and then, well, they've already done the preliminary, and so this will be the final for everybody who's made it up to state. This will be the state competition for solo and ensemble, and we have a number of solos and several ensembles that are going forward.
Please keep us posted.
Yes, that'll be the end of May.
Please keep us posted. Make sure that we take care of the kids too.
And not to brag, but Emma is doing both solo and ensemble.
Woo.
Yes, she went to state for both.
There you go. There you go. And she's only a
Freshman. And she's section leader. Yes.
There you go.
And apparently they've never had a saxophone. She plays saxophone. Never had a saxophonist from the school get a 1 at state in UIL solo. So
That is awesome. That is awesome. Got the goosebumps. That's good. That's good stuff right there. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Nope. All right. Okay. things to pass on. I just want to say thanks to PD and fire for all the different fires that we had, from the brushes to the vehicles. You guys took care of everything, and it was last minute stuff, especially with the high winds. I know we got called to a few of them, and it was great that we didn't end up in the news compared to some of the ones that were in South San Antonio. So I appreciate all the hard work on that. To Public Works, thank you for the repair in Saddle Ridge with minimal effects. It's great just to be able to hear the residents, and they're just complaining a little bit about a few things, and you guys just took care of business, got it coordinated, got the other person to help out, the other team to come in and help out and just get it done and get everything back to normal as quickly as possible. So we really appreciate that. Also, even though we mentioned it, I just want to say thank you for taking care of those clay valves. That's huge. That is a huge, huge improvement for our water and just being able to take care of that. So thank you for your dedicated and just dedication to getting that taken care of. Special shout out for animal control with minimal manning. They've been able to take care of the place, just working through the ups and downs over there, but they've been doing really good. And I think the numbers are still low, if I'm not mistaken. They're doing really, really good. Things that are coming up, just so you kind of have an idea. First of all, just because it already started, we have that project for the water connection on 132. So that's between 2790 heading out towards Coal Mine. So they're already started. The contractor is a good contractor. We dealt with them, so I think it's going to be really good. We just need to make sure that we communicate and tell folks about it. I don't think there's going to be any disruption with traffic or anything like that. So it should be good. The 20th of March, Paula, are we still doing the farmers market? Okay. So the 20th of March, we got the food market. This is where the San Antonio Food Bank comes in with the vouchers. Is that right? And provides that. We're not going to have the big thing, just the farmers market. So can we please get a copy of the flyer so we can get that out? That would be great. The 21st and the 22nd of March, we got the festival. Anything that we need to talk about the festival at all on that?
No, I don't think so. We got good lineup. Our show on Saturday. We'll put out a lot of people on there. Mayor's choice for an award.
What?
Yeah, apparently. What was on the flyer?
Okay, I've been volunteered now. Didn't know about that one.
Kinda told, man.
Guess I got to pick a car now. I'm telling you. Go get a kid that has like a little car and it's all decked out. That would be the best thing. You know, one of those pedal cars, right? It's all decked out, looks good. He or she will get it automatically from me. I'll get that one. Okay, Little League season kicks off on the 29th of March. So right around the corner, they're gonna get pretty busy out there. So we'll have a meeting here in the near future so we can coordinate all the efforts with that. I want to say special congrats to Skull Studios, and we'll go ahead and recognize them here. We had animation, we got as a finalist up at state, and then we had one group of the kids from Skull Studios that ended up with second place at state, and then we had another group that ended up with third place. So good representation all the way around with them. There will be, I'll send it out, but there will be a kind of like a viewing. They're going to do it over at the auditorium. So they'll put it out there for all the stuff that they put together to try to take care of that. So that's going to be pretty cool. Track and field, baseball, tennis, softball. It's all going. And I think we got district play now starting. They're going to stop from all these tournaments and they're going to be getting into now the district play. So all these games are going to start counting. So we'll see you out there. It should be. I know it's coming back and be able to do that. Okay. Anything else that pops up in your head or anything that we need to take care of? Anything at all? All right. Well, we actually have got somebody we're going to take care of. Make sure that we do. That's Lynette on the 12th. It's her birthday.
And it was the mayor's birthday.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so look, it's even yellow and yellow candles. Look at that. This is heavy. Okay, here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lynn. Happy birthday to you.
Make a wish.
Hey.
My goodness. I love it. Love it. Okay. Richie can't take the zebra cake, so who gets the zebra cake? Be nice. You get the other ones. All right, with that in mind, let's go ahead and let's see. It is 9:12. It's 9:12. Do I have a motion for us to go ahead and adjourn?
Mayor, I make the motion.
Okay, got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much.